Yo, so Eddington. Yeah, Eddington. This is the new film from director Ari Aster. Aster. I feel that's the correct way to pronounce his name. Well, Ari wrote and directed. It is produced by Anne Rark, Lars Kunson. And Ari Aster. It's executive produced by Timo Argalander, Len Blavant Nick, Tyler Campaleon, Danny Cohen, Alejandro De Leon, Robert Dean, Harrison Huffman, Todd Lundblom, Andrea Scarzo, and Will Tracy. It is co-produced by Luca Borges, with associate production from Jean-Paul Shirky. That's it. Okay, so the Haxon Cloak, aka Bobby Krlik and Daniel Pemberton, took care of the score. Darius Konji was on cinematography. Lucian Johnston edits the piece. Ellen Chenoweth is casting director. Elliot Hostetter is production design. Art direction, we have Matthew Gatlin, Landon Lute, Emma Rentz, and Jon Snow. Adam Willis is set decoration. Anna Taraz is costume design. Hair and makeup, we have Angie Bemben, Michelle Connolly, Kayla Dubelas, Rocky Faulkner, Lisa Hansel, Heather A. Hawkins, Sean Hunter, Cameron L. Jones, Georgia Ladanke, Steve Newborn, Colin Pennon, and Nish Yellowhorse. We have got Okay, yes. So some of the stunts are done by Brian Avery, Dan Brockett, Rico Borges, Lexi Daly, Ed Duran, Timothy Ulrich, Corinne Fox, Jacob Garcia, Zach Henry, Heath Hensley, Johnny Ives, Eddie Morris, David Pinter, David Samon, Brett Sheeran, Elan Simon, Lucas Swallow, and Ernie Vigil. So our cast. Who is in this film? Actually, I'm going to go here. It might be easier. Yeah. All right. So Joaquin Phoenix is Joe Cross. His wife, Louise, is played by Emma Stone. Louise's mother, Dawn, is played by Deirdre O'Connell. We then have got Ted Garcia, right? So Joe is the sheriff. Ted is the mayor, and he is played by Pedro Pascal. Dum, 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 dum. Ted's got a son, Eric, played by Matt Gomez Hidaka. Okay. Eric's got a best friend, Brian, played by Cameron Mann. Right? They both like social justice influencer Sarah, played by Emile Hofferl. So Joe has his deputies. There is Guy Tooley, played by Luke Grimes, and Michael Cook, played by Michael Ward. We also have Vernon Jefferson Peake, a cult leader, played by Austin Butler. There is Lodge, a vagrant, right, played by Clifton Collins Jr. We've got the Pueblo police officer, played by William Bellew. So he's Officer Butterfly Jimenez. Who else? We got Paula, played by Rachel De La Torre. Lard, played by Amado Azarola. Will, played by Landau Gooseby. Nicolette, played by Elise Falanga. Warren, played by King Orba. Paula, played by Rachel De La Torre. Actually, I think I just said, I don't know. That's our main lot of people. Okay. So the gist of the story, hopefully this will actually clear it up for me. In May 2020, a standoff between a small town sheriff and mayor sparks a powder keg as neighbor is pitted against neighbor in Eddington, New Mexico. That does make it sound like this is based on true events. And that was the big thing, right? I'm watching this film, trying to piece it together. And I did think maybe this is based on real events, right? That's what kind of made it a reason to be. But it's not. Right, Eddington is not a real place in New Mexico, as far as I'm aware, right? And as far as I'm aware, this isn't, unless it's something similar happened and they've kind of been inspired by, but I can't seem to find anything to indicate that, you know? It is, I mean, it's kind of down as being a Western. It's not, though. Like, I didn't think this was a Western. This was, it was just, I don't know, it was very odd. It was very convoluted. Because it's set around COVID, right? Which, to be honest with you, that was kind of a bit of a turn off. Because it's just, look, we know what happened. Like, there was so many things made looking at COVID, and none of them have been that interesting, to be honest with you. Maybe because we're still kind of so close to it, and it was such a pain in the fucking ass, you know? I think for some people, it went okay, right? It opened up opportunities. But then other people, it just really fucked a lot of shit up, you know? But if the story was compelling, you can get over the COVID stuff. But the story itself isn't overly compelling. It feels very bitty, and then it's getting kind of pulled together, and towards the end it gets a bit more interesting, but it's still kind of baffling, right? Because we've got Joe and Louise, and there is something happening there, right? Something. Oh, Keith Jardine was in this as a muscle man. Yeah, because there's times you watch these things and you feel you recognize someone, but you can't quite put your finger on it. Keith, right? Anyway, yeah, there's something that's going on between Louise and Joe, but it doesn't really get explored, right? It doesn't, like, there's these things that just don't get explored. Right, Joe and Ted do not get along, right? So Joe runs for mayor, but again, there's that backstory that's not really explored. Visits facing COVID, so they bring in the whole George Floyd thing. They bring in the protests, around Black Lives Matter, and then all the other stuff, when they're ripping down fucking statues and all of that shenanigans. But, there's not a lot of minorities in this spot. So you have a load of white people protesting, but then just the whole, we're guilty, we're protesting on this, but we shouldn't be protesting on this because it's not our voices, but we're standing up for, and there's a lot of that, which was just infuriating during COVID, and it's infuriating just to see the idiocracy of it all again and again and again, so we have a lot of this going on, and you're just like, where is this going, right? Because it's such a, and the other crazy thing is, right, when these things were happening in big cities, you could now, when I say this, right, you can understand people doing it. And what I mean is because they don't have a connection to the big stores. Now, they might know people that work in those big stores, but no one they know owns those big stores. But in a small town like Eddington, you feel like these are mum and pop stores. So the people that own them, right? You've been going in. So I kind of feel that there'd be a slightly different conversation around all of this, but there really wasn't. Now, that would have been interesting, but there wasn't, right? So we just have this going on. We then have, so again, there's more story. There's this other subplot with, Joe's wife, Louise, which again feels real fucking random, and also kind of tagged on to something that you heard, got talked about in the news a little bit, but not a lot, right? And so you have these kind of topics that were kind of buzzwords at the time, and it's just like, oh, we'll take that, we'll take that, we'll take that, we'll take that, and let's meld them all together and see what we get. That's kind of what this feels like, And that does seem bad. Now, it could be that I'm just missing the plot here. I'm just missing it. And there have been films where sometimes I've not vibed with it, but everyone else has. And I'm just like, oh, did I miss something here? You know? And I think sometimes that can be the case. I don't know what it is here. I really don't. You know? We get, as I said, in the last third of the film, it kind of gets more compelling. Just because you want to know, where the fuck is this going? Right? What is happening now? So it's compelling from that point of view, but it feels like this new thread has come out of nowhere. And you're just like, I don't know who any of these people are or why they're doing what they're doing. Right? So it's very baffling and does not get explained at all. So it's just all these weird things that are happening. And right now, oftentimes, right, we have films where you know, they'll be in a car maybe, and then they'll go for a hike and they'll do something, and then, right, everyone goes a separate way, and then for whatever reason we cut to the girl in the shower, and we watch her shower for a minute, and then we cut to something completely, you know what I mean, off that topic, and you're just like, what was the shower scene? Because there was no epiphany, there was nothing added in this moment in time, right? So that happened. It not in this, but we do get a weird, like, full frontal nude scene with Joaquin Phoenix that just feels like it's come out of nowhere. So on one respect, it's weird. On the other respect, it's just like, well, you know, it's been happening to the women for years. So, it, you know, kind of like, if that's what you want to do, you know. So it's just, yeah, there's just these weird things happening in this film. You know, like, there's good sound design, right? There's a bit when you've got, like, one of the characters just breathing heavily and just it's resonating all around, and, you know, there's things like that they've done very well, right? And there's decent shots and things, you know, the camera work is good. But the dialogue, the development, right? The character arcs are just all over the place. You know, it's very weird. And, you know, we've got the cast is incredible. But everyone feels really underutilized. You know, there were some moments that were funny, that you were just laughing, and sometimes they were funny. Sometimes you're laughing because it's so bizarre, right? But yeah, it feels like there is a lot of underutilized ground here, and it's baffling. It's very, very baffling. But yeah, that's Eddington, people. Now, I would love it if someone can let me know what the fuck I missed, right? If you watch this film and you really dug this film, man, please tell me. Tell me what might have gone over my head. There was a lot of stuff that was in the distance or like in a text message that I could not see. So there's possibly, you know, hints and things and clues that I completely missed. So there might be that. But yeah, this film, I'm very baffled by. So yeah, if people, let me know what you thought, right? This was Eddington.